It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Everybody loves chips and salsa.
Welcome to your Chips and Salsa Show. This is Don Jorge El Alacran. And today is November 21st. And we have a very good guest today, Veronica. She's from LD8, and we have a lot to talk about. And with me, co-hosting the show today, is Mr. Sid de la Puente.
Hey, what's up, George? How's it going, Don Jose? With Carlo?
And with
Azra.
Azra. He's the chairman of Azra and the chairman of Carlo.
Yeah, Carlo, Conservative American Latino Organization. And Azra was short for Arizona Republican Assembly.
So that's the West chapter that he's the chairman of. So, Sid, I think you have a lot to talk about. And we're getting ready for the holidays. And this show should be interesting. It's going to be in two parts, I believe, right? Eric is putting it in two parts. So we'll have one and then the other. So anyway, we may have another guest. We're not sure yet. But right now, Veronica's our guest. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. Let's see. What did I want to do? Yep. So I'm going to turn it over to Veronica, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. You're an LD8. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself in LD8?
Yes, thank you for having me. My LD means legislative district, just for maybe people who don't understand. So I am a new American, and I'm honored that I can participate into making America better, I believe, because as an immigrant who come from a different country, we really love the idea of freedom that this country represents and what our founding fathers have created for us. And so lately I'm really...
and you're from a socialistic Democrat?
It's a
democracy.
It's a former Yugoslavia. And we became independent in 1991. It was a war. I will never forget. Yeah. That war, in the morning we woke up, there were tanks on the streets. I was...
How old were you then, if we may ask?
Yeah, I was just in a hospital. I was in late 20s.
The late 20s?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So you saw the war firsthand?
I did, yeah.
How was that?
It was very stressful and shocking because, believe it or not, I was delivering my son on the day of war. So we don't have no cell phone. So I was like, where is my husband and my first son? I have two boys, and I was just worrying about them. There was no way that we can communicate. So
are they still out there? Or
yeah, they are still out there. And everything was shut off. No transportation, no buses, no trains. Tanks on the streets, and it was like in a hospital, and nobody can even drive the car. So I was kind of like left there. So my younger son, Christian, was born in that war. And you know what's funny? We were taken down to the bunker. The electricity went down.
At the hospital?
At the hospital for the safety, because they were bombing. And so I don't know if this is okay. I'm going so deep here on this. Is that okay?
It's okay. Now, the babies, were they in incubators or not?
No, I was having C-section. So we were in a special room. And so the next thing, when we back to the room, so the alarm went off for the bombing. So we had to take not elevator, no electricity, no elevator. We have to go from wherever we were. They got our babies, and we had to walk down the fire stairs. You know how tall the fire stairs are?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I remember not long after the operation, so I got my baby, and we had to go in the bunker.
That must have been painful because you have stitches and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was,
wow.
it was like, I think it was a like supernatural experience as a mother. You know, you want to protect your baby, walking down the stairs. And I'm talking about this because what I've noticed that when we came down into the bunker, this all drama, this whole stress, we came down, media everywhere. You know, they were like a camera everywhere, like normal life. Like we were so shocked. We were so scared. We thought that this is the end of the world. And then all this media, they're like life like normal. You know, I was like, and this time when the Ukraine happened, I had a deja vu, you know? Oh, now I understand what actually happened, because those wars are somehow programmed or designed or created.
They're created.
Because, you know, they create wars to make money and how scared we were and how tortured we were. You know?
Now, this war, was it a socialist trying to take over, or was it the Democratic Party of...
Yeah, this was Slovenia. It's so Yugoslavia has a lot of different republics.
Right.
So the Republic of Slovenia became independent in 1991. They want
at that time. Yeah,
they want to become independent, and then where Serbia, Yugoslavia attacked us.
Okay.
And then suddenly we woke up in military coup.
In a military coup.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And you were having a child at this time.
And I was delivering my child, and
what was your husband doing? Was he
at home with my son? And no cell phone, no nothing. Wow. His mother was coming with the train to kind of like take care, like be there with them. No, not transportation, nothing. We were completely cut off.
Wow. And how long did this last? I mean,
the war, the war started. I mean, we were in the bunker and then we came back. I don't remember that. I just remember that moment going down the bunker with my baby. Oh. At least I had my baby with me. I was grateful. Oh. But then the war itself in our republic didn't last so long. We had a very young government. They were negotiating instead of, fighting. And so I think 3 or 4 days, the war they ceased the fire. Not many people died, but then the war continued. I could hear the bombing later on from Croatia and Bosnia down to Serbia. So it's all the Balkan.
So the Balkan War, yeah.
Yeah, the Balkan War, yes. So there was happening, and I was scared. I already was home, and me and my husband, we were wondering, what do we do? My sister lived in Berlin already. So what do we do? Should we stay? We didn't know. You heard the bombing. Yeah. You never know when they come back. You don't know. So we left with a little Renault 5. It's like a little bigger Fiat car. And we decided, let's go, just for me to get stressed a little bit. And so we took our 2 babies. The older was 3 years old. The younger was just a couple, I don't know, in a pillow, And we took the trip with my little Renault 5, like a little bigger than Fiat, through Eastern Germany to Austria and Eastern Germany to Nuremberg, on a highway that Hitler built up to the Berlin, where my sister lived. And so it was very special. I was just so happy to have my family.
So how long did you stay in the Germany? Or?
I stayed. We stayed for maybe a month for a while. And I was like, not sure. What do we do? Shall we go? We were just young family. We just started our life, and it's scary. You don't know what to do in the war.
From there, you left
Berlin,
and then you came to the United States.
Oh, that was way later.
Oh no, you went back to Slovenia.
No. So we decided to come back to our country, and luckily there was no war anymore.
No war.
But the war down in Serbia, Bosnia, and it continued in Croatia. It was a very brutal war there.
Wow.
Now you say your country was negotiating. It just lasted, but you still heard the bombs go off. When you went back from Berlin, you went back to your country. Was it the same or was it different?
There was not much like a damage. It really didn't impact our republic very much.
No.
Because I don't know what happened. I'm still trying to figure it out, the history of what happened. I just had a baby. I just want to protect my baby, you know?
Oh, yes.
And so nothing really changed rather than that we, I guess, I had no idea about politics at that time. I had no idea. I was never in politics.
Yes.
I didn't understand. And so you just kind of like worry about, like, you know, something like this can happen anytime, you know. And so that's why I got kind of involved. Becoming in this country, I slowly learn, and you know, that we as people, we better be informed and we better do something.
So
you know.
So when that coup happened and stuff, you guys became more democratic.
Yes. So we had.
So you got away from the socialistic type of government to a more democratic type of government.
Well, that's a very interesting question, because at that time we were under Milosevic. It was Belgrade. The main reason that that our little republic decided to kind of become independent, it was, I think, financial, because I think at that time there were about 25 million people in Yugoslavia. There are 2 million people in Slovenia. Right. And I think the 30% of the budget went from Slovenia for the entire country.
Right.
And so we were like very hard workers. And, you know, that was a time when after Berlin Wall came down, you know, I can tell you from people I know from the eastern part of the Europe that everything changed when Berlin Wall came down. It's almost like people were locked in a cage, and they didn't even understand going out to eat, going, you know, shopping. So, you know,
interesting.
And you know, and then the wall came down. It's almost like this monkey effect. I don't know if you know about monkey effect, but one monkey figured out how to do something that the other monkey on another island know how to do it automatically.
Yeah.
We have that connection. We are like connected people. And so many people, when the wall came down, they were so depressed because they were locked down, like, say, Czechoslovakia or Slovakia, different republics, that they were like 67 years old, and they lost 20 years of their life, never knowing about the normal life that people live.
So would it say when the Berlin Wall went down, people were not in the country not used to basically kind of sometimes a little bit of freedom, freedom.
Yes.
They didn't know what to do with it because they never had any little bit of freedom.
And then they would visited people, and they go out to eat, they go to shopping, and they could pick up one loaf of bread or one shoe, or, you know, there was no freedom to you know, enjoy life, and so it was very depressing for some people.
Wow.
Now, Veronica, before the freedom, let's say before the freedom, how was it? I mean, you said the people were not used to getting the bread, going out to eat, or any of that. So I'm curious. I'm just curious. How was it? Who provided? How did they provide? Or how did they for themselves? Or did government provide it for the people? Or how did that happen?
It depends where you lived. You know, we live in a village, so we had to live with what we have. My mother has to borrow leggings to take me to the hospital. I was a very sickly child. I have no clothing. My father has no socks. He has to have newspaper to wrap his feet. You know, it's very cold in the winter.
This was after?
This was before.
Oh, before.
Before, yeah.
Wow.
When I was still a young kid.
That's something.
And I would have an egg, maybe 3 times a year, an egg. I remember as a child, I was like definitely undernourished, you know, and I was in a hospital a lot. And so, and I just remember my mom has to sell milk and also save eggs, and in order to get a little money. That was the only income we had. So, that
is something.
But we had freedom. We were able to worship every night and pray, and they left us alone. However, my extended family, who lived in the city, and one of them was like a surgeon, heart surgeon, and they were targeted by the communists because they want this person to become a part of the party, the KGB. It was that like a KGB, it's just. Risk his life and knock on the windows to tell people because the Germans were coming and burning down because some people work with Germans.
Yes.
It was just like in any war, you have infiltrators. But my father, after the war, they came, he has to sign. Okay, I'll sign here to become a communist. He said, well, why do I have to sign? War is over. He didn't want to participate in the party, so he could not get a job. Yeah. So if you're not a part of the club, you don't get a job.
The club. That's
so my father, thankfully, was creative.
Yeah.
He built a pond to grow fish because they used to have a mill who make like flour, and my grandfather was very successful, carpenter, but so we had my father has to have a mill and then regulate the river, so he lost a mill because the river was no longer there, so he lost his business there, and so he built his own pond, grow fish, and I remember that was a very good food, but as a child you don't like that muddy fish so much. I was not aware, but then again it's like anywhere in the village or in the town, it's always fight between good and evil. And they will come and poison the fish and stuff like that.
Yeah, just
so after the coup, things improved. Life improved a little bit.
Coup was way later on. Of course, it was in 1991.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I just had a family, and
were jobs more plentiful, or was the same?
I didn't really see the difference because I just started my life. I'm an architect by profession, so I got a job. My husband was also working already. He worked, very good jobs, even for the government, IT, technology, and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So I just was a mom and a mama bear. I want to be home, but we couldn't afford, right? So we live in a little studio, like just nothing but one big room with a little kitchenette and a little hallway and a little bathroom. But my older son, always say, "Mom, this was the best time in my life because we were so together." Oh, wow. And so we had, we wanted to be, as a family together, and it was beautiful. We were like sleeping on a pull-out couch, and then we built a bunk bed, and the older son slept on the top. I was 8 months pregnant, you guys. I was 8 months pregnant with my second baby, and I drew the car, pick up cement and sand, and I cement the floor because we find a way to extend the wall a little bit. So it was
something. That is something.
I know, and it was so beautiful, and then I was working, and then I negotiated with my work, and I said, "Is there any way? My kids are sick. You know how they would go to kindergarten, and it's not that good care, especially."
And you had a small car still.
Still. No, we got Alfa Romeo, a little bigger car later on. Yeah. But it was so nice because I was able to talk to the secretary of that ministry, and I said, "Is there any way that I could please? I would do 8-hour job in 5 hours because I have 2 babies at home. Could I please? I don't need a break. I don't need nothing. I will pay me 5 hours. I will do 8-hour job," and they did it to me.
Oh, wow.
So, and my babies were able to be with me more, and So when they were healthier and happier.
Good.
Because mother has to be with the child when they're little.
Oh yeah. I know that even when they're big.
I know. I always like women who could be mom. It's sometimes depressing to be home with the child, but when you do a little bit of work and then come back, it's healthy.
So what made you decide to want to come to the United States?
I didn't decide. It was another story that, it's a long story. It's a long story, but I came from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You went to New Zealand first?
Yeah. What happened was I was very healthy person, but after my second son was born, I had a huge health problem. And then I said to myself, I need to figure it out. What's wrong with me? Why my feet are so like big? And so I went to a woman back in my country in Slovenia. A lot of people they're called bioenergy, bioenergetics, and she was able to just go over my body like this. I first time saw a massage table at that time. That was like a long time ago, and she said, you don't have a kidney. I said, what? Your kidney is tiny like a kidney bean. Like,
but how could she tell without doing X-ray?
She could see. She has the ability to see inside of your body. She has a God-given talent. Some people do, And I couldn't believe her, so I went to hospital.
Oh, so you did go to a hospital.
And then doctor checked it, and then, it was...
You were missing a kidney.
Yeah, I lost a kidney,
That's odd.
And then I was worried, being a mom, like that I will end up in dialysis.
Right.
So it just, I studied, and then there was a woman from China who came up and started talking to us about a natural way of healing, how God can heal you.
Yeah.
And I could not resist this, because the first time I came to listen to her class, it was like big cinema, like 1,000 people, 800 people were sitting and 200 people were standing. And she was presenting this form of natural, like how you can heal yourself. Chinese medicine is very historically very ethical, and of course herbal and all those things. Yes. But she said something that got my attention, full attention, when she said your ears are your kidney, your eyes are your liver. She explained how body works, and I just discovered I lost a kidney, right? I had 5 operations on my ear all my life in the hospital. Like I told you, I was always ear infection, but they were fixing ear, but the problem was here.
Problem was in your kidney.
So that was causing your...
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was causing the problem. And
they didn't pick it up? They couldn't?
No, traditional medicine did not. But Chinese, they know. The Chinese traditional medicine is the most ethical medicine that ever existed before Mao Zedong.
So originally you then from New Zealand, you came to America.
Yeah, so the reason that I end up in New Zealand is because I don't know if it's okay to talk personal things here. It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So chips and salsa.
Chips and salsa.
We are like in a a restaurant eating. So I like that actually. So after I discovered what my problem with health was, I really fell in love with this teaching, and I become so I almost become like a newborn. They say born again.
Yeah.
And I just love to worship and pray and relax and give my body to be in touch with God. That the way she taught us, it was just perfect. And so I was able to not only help myself, I was able to help my son and my family members. And like my baby, he was 8 months old. He has a horrible ear infection, the same baby who was born that war. And instead of giving him antibiotic, I simply me and my husband would sit together and pray together and relax together and be with God together. My baby was healed completely. Infection of ear stopped. No antibiotic. Never going to the hospital.
Now, with him, was it also the kidney? Or
of course. Everybody who has infection in the ear, here, it's a problem is in the kidney. You know, if you have ear problem, it's a kidney problem. It's
Since I can't hear, I guess
it's a kidney. Naughty boy.
I can hear. My wife says I can't. My wife says I can't, but
it's I know. So it just it's a beautiful. To me, it's a beautiful awakening to understand who I was and that how powerful we are. And my baby was healed.
Wow.
Wow, that's
That was the younger one? Or
the younger. He was 8 months old. So I took him. He was crying, like when go to church, you know, when he was crying. I was hiding behind the curtain and he was crying. But we just, I just believed that, believed, like faith, believing. He processed all that without any, side effects. And then I was starting helping others. And so I eventually went to seminar with my teacher, extended seminar one time. And she said, you know what? She said, you can go home and you can try help other people. So I had someone in a hospital who was my family member lady. She was waiting for a new heart. She was way overweight. And she hardly breathed. She was just in the hospital. They're waiting for the proper heart to replace. And I came to her and I said, I sat next to her and to start talking to her, just my heart to her. And she sat on the edge of the chair, a bed, and I could see with my own eyes, her lips were purple. They started to become reddish, like red color came back. Yeah. And then she started sweating, and I could say, wow. It's like Jesus said, he healed people. We can do everything that God already showed us. We have abilities. And so when I helped my aunt, it was just the end of April. And then we have a 3-day holiday for 1st of May, the work holiday. How it's called? Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. And she felt so much better. They took her. They sent her home. And she was taking special pills to take the water out of her body because she was full of water. She was not that fat. Yeah. Just the body could not work, and heart and organs were failing, and so she was, with the water. And when I just talked to her and then started sweating, the water was just like waterfall coming. She was just wet, completely wet, and she felt better after that. Okay, so obviously I've learned something, and then So then
when did it transition to you coming to the United States?
I've seen how this works, and I said, I want to help other people. So we opened in our neighborhood a little center for better quality of life, and my husband and I both decided we quit careers and everything. He was
really?
And start teaching because it was so impactful. It was like I've seen so many lives being changed, and so I started helping people to overcome when the problems, the disease that the doctor could not help. Sometimes, especially with little babies. And
so this is natural healing then.
Yes, it's a natural. We are we are healed by His stripes. We are healed.
Yeah, holistic. I forget what they call it.
Holistic, like
holistic,
like more faith medicine. Faith.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I started that. We become very famous, and we were on TV and magazines, and
that was out there.
In the museum.
So
were you able to bring that to the United States? Or
well, I had no idea that this will brought me here. But my husband, what happened was, when I was gone for the seminars, he was home alone with a lot of big congregation, and a lot. It's in Europe. It's different. Women, even if you're married, you should not go after married men. That's just no. But Europe is very people are very much promiscuous, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So so we were very young. We were met. He was my first love, and so he was very smitten. I bet with all this attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able, to kind of fight all this and keep the marriage strong until the last one. There was one lady that I could not, and she was from Australia. And then that's where I ended up taking my kids. They took because his father had connection with the judges because it's a small town, everybody. So I lost everything overnight. My kids were 7 and 10.
Oh,
but you had already got a business started. And all that,
we were already doing a business, and then when he had this lady, so I gave him that business, and I took a bus. I went to a bus and drove to my hometown, opened my own center there. I let them be there, and I opened my own, which became very successful. And that's where Americans kind of discovered me, through my own home center.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he had an affair. Like,
and then we end up
divorced.
We end up divorced.
That's what we call an affair.
Yeah, it was an affair.
And then
it ended up.
So you guys separated and you started your own business. And then what brought you to the United States was your business. People noticed your business, or?
Well, because I worked with this lady who had international business, and so there were people from different parts of the world studying with her, and so I went to different seminars. And when after my husband decided to move to Australia with her, I decided to sell my business and move to New Zealand. I just was so heartbroken. I wanted to be closer to kids.
And he kept the boys.
Yes, because like I said, because his father had the connection with the judges, and they had money.
Okay, we're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna change the topic and bring her to the United States and how she got involved with the LD, how she got involved with politics. So we got a little bit of a taste of her past life, which was out there in the Slovakia, or and a very interesting transition to the medical to this medical like a holistic healing, and how it actually did good for you. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the transition into the United States and what she's doing now with the LD. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with the Chips and Salsa Show with Sid, my sitting co-host, and Veronica from LDA.